Morning. I'm Lieutenant McCormick with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. At approximately 4 o'clock this morning, officers were dispatched to a shooting in the 10,800 block of Campus Heights Lane. Upon arrival, officers located a victim who had been shot at least twice in the lower extremities. The suspects had already fled the area, and the victim was transported to UF Health, where I'm told he's in stable condition. The investigation is obviously early, still fluid, but detectives are on the scene right now investigating, and from what we can tell so far, it appears that there were multiple car burglaries in the neighborhood prior to this, and that our victim was also the victim of one of those auto burglaries. Apparently he may have seen them. Again, we're still working on all the details here. And he chose to take matters into his own hands, went down the neighborhood a couple blocks, hid, waited for the suspects, and when he saw the suspects, he came out and confronted him. At that time, he was shot by at least one of the suspects, who then fled the area. We don't believe the victim had a phone because he hadn't called us ahead of time, and he had to go to a nearby house to call 911 so that we could be informed of it. With that, we're still, again, trying to determine some of the exact details and get you guys better descriptions on some of that. We definitely want to use the media's help to try and get the information out and keep the public informed. But given the state of today's technology and social media, we also have to make sure the integrity of the case is first and foremost before we give out too much information. But I'll try and answer questions with that if you have any questions.
When were these car burglaries taking place? Was this recently? Was this just last night, or has this been happening for several days?
So this particular incident was all last night. We think directly before the shooting. Obviously, once the shooting occurred, the suspects fled that neighborhood, but folks are still waking up. It's still early, and we're still getting additional reports of auto burglaries. So anybody that's in this neighborhood that can go out and check their car, if they do discover their car was burglarized, we definitely like them to call us. And as always, anybody who has information can call 0500, or they can remain anonymous, but should collect a reward by calling Crime Stoppers. 1-866-845-TIPS.
Is there anything you can tell us about the suspects? Are there two of them?
We believe there's at least two. Again, we're still working on that. There's possibly a third one. Very vague descriptions. Again, the detectives are working the scene now, hoping to get some video from some of the neighboring houses and that kind of stuff that'll help pinpoint that. But the information right now that we have so far is just younger black males.
How many car burglaries are there? What's your tally right now?
I don't have that exact number for you, but I know it's continually going up, even as we've been sitting here, again, as people wake up and come out. And then we're going to go back through the neighborhood, canvass all the houses, and try and pinpoint how many. But there was multiple so far.
And what did people do? I mean, he went and tried to confront people and ended up getting shot. What did people do to do this to help police?
So this is a great example of why we really don't want people taking matters into their own hands like this. Had he been able to call 911 or someone called us and we get here quickly enough, we may have actually been able to apprehend the suspects. But most importantly, it's a prime example of the danger that these officers face every day out here. Here he confronted what he probably thought were just car burglars, and now they become attempted murder suspects. That's what we want. That's what we train our officers to do, and that's what we want the officers doing, not the public, so that hopefully keep anybody else from getting hurt. It's also a great example of why we want the 9 o'clock routine followed, because from my understanding so far, most all of the cars have been unlocked. And an important key feature here, we don't know that it's the matter in this case, but it's very possible that the gun used was taken from one of these cars, because last year alone we had over 600 guns taken from unlocked cars. So if we can use this opportunity to try and further educate the public, remind them, get out there, at 9 o'clock, make sure all your stuff is locked up. If you have a firearm, please make sure it's secured so that that firearm doesn't get used against you or someone else.
Is there anything you could tell us about the victim and age? I know you said is he in stable, critical condition?
I'm told stable condition, in mid-20s. I can't really release any more information, with Marcy's Law and all that kind of stuff now, but mid-20s, black male, and I think his intentions were obviously to, try and confront these and stop the burglaries.
Extremities, is that like the stomach, the abdomen, what you said?
Lower half of the body. Again, I didn't see it. I don't have exact information. I wouldn't want to give you incorrect details. Okay.
Do you believe there's any other threat to the community at this point?
There's no immediate threat right now. All indications are that these guys were interested in breaking into cars, but obviously they also were not afraid to use deadly force to further their criminal activities. So Jacksonville will be a safer place if we can get these guys identified and get them put in jail. All right, anything else? No?
Thanks for taking the call.
Thank you guys.